Hi students, welcome to this Ask Me Anything session. So today we are going to focus on the CAT, XAT, NMAT and SNAP form. So if you have any questions in terms of how do you go about filling the application, if you have any queries regarding your academics, your work experience, in today's session we are going to discuss all of these questions, right? So if you have any questions, you can put it in the chat window in the live chat and I'll be taking questions directly from here. We had also sent, there is also a Google form link that you can see there, but I would suggest that you can put the question directly here in the YouTube chat because on the Google form, of course, we had received a lot of queries and I thought it's better to just focus on the YouTube chat because a lot of those questions were sort of repetitive, so there was no point putting a presentation out. It was more important for me to just have a word directly with you. So if you have any questions, you can put it in the chat window directly and I'll pick it up from there. Okay. So let's see if we have any questions. Okay, right now I don't see anything in the YouTube chat, so you can start putting in your questions. Those of you who had submitted your entry in the Google form, you can again put the same question here as well, and I'll take it up from the YouTube chat. Okay. Yeah. Good evening. Good evening. Great. So a couple of things before we get into the session. We have something called the B School Zone, right? Now, if you haven't seen it already and if you haven't visited it, please make sure that you visit it, bookmark the link. You can also access it from my IMS, but it is not only for IMS students. You could be anybody, whether you're an IMS student, not an IMS student, you can still benefit from the B School Zone. So bschoolzone.imsindia.com. On this website, you will find information about B schools, you will find information related to cutoffs, and more importantly, the application deadlines. So most of the students find the application deadline page very useful because you can keep a track of all the test as well as B school application deadlines using this page. So make sure that you bookmark this, especially if you're not an IMS student. But if you're an IMS student, you can always access it via my IMS. Okay. Alright, so let's start with questions. We started getting a few queries in the chat now. The first question is from Nancy. For NRI students, how do we fill out the academic section of the CAT where it asks for maximum marks and total marks? Okay, so Nancy, if you have the exact marks, right? So if for because it varies from university to university, so I would not know exactly what is there on your mark sheet, but if you have individual marks that are available for the individual subjects, you can always use that. If that is not available, a grade point is available, then you can follow the conversion that is given by your respective university to convert your CGPA to percentage, right? So that is how you do it. In case you are still not able to find that particular conversion because some universities don't give that, you can first of all write to the university and request them to reply as soon as possible, telling them that you are going to apply for a test, etc. If they still don't respond, in the meanwhile, you can also attach these documents in a mail and then send it to CAT help desk and ask them for clarification as to how you should enter it. But mostly they are going to tell you that you reach out to your university and ask them for how to convert whatever grade to percentage or how to enter marks. Okay. If let's say you have nothing, you don't know exactly how many marks it was from, the mark sheet or the whatever it is not available, you can always put maximum marks as 100. So let's say you have only GPA, right? And you don't know your obtained marks, maximum marks, etc. You have only GPA. There's a conversion which is given by your university that, okay, using this you can convert GPA to percentage. Then you use that you have to enter values that will match to create that particular percentage. So if it comes out to be, let's say 83%, you put maximum marks as 100, obtained as 83, and the percentage as 83, right? That is the general practice that is followed, but you still have some time. We have time till about, I think 13 September is the CAT deadline. So we still have a month. Reach out to the university where you studied, reach out to CAT help desk and ask them for clarification, because for a lot of students that's going to be a concern where maximum marks and obtained marks are not available. The best case is this: reach out to your college or university wherever you studied and request for the mark sheet. Okay. Alright, next is from Shreyashi Shah. I have filled the NMAT form and paid, but it did not show me the option for dates. Okay, so in the NMAT form, when you fill the NMAT form, this is the NMAT by GMAC website on which you are filling the form. In that dashboard, there is an option called book exam slot. There is also an option called slot preview. So you will be able to preview the slots before you go on and book the slot. So you click on slot preview, and there you will be able to select the city where you want to take it. There will be multiple venues where you can take it, and it will show you some slots. For example, in Mumbai, I remember when I was filling the form, there was no slot for the 5th November, which is the starting date of NMAT. All the slots are starting from the 9th, at least in Mumbai. So for city where you are taking it, you can preview the slots through the NMAT by GMAT dashboard. Okay. And of course, once you decide that, okay, this is the date on which I want to take it, you click on book exam slot and then book the slot where you are going to take the test. Next question is from Tanvi Parikh. How we come to know about NMAT slots, when they will start? Okay, so there's a preview slot option, as I told you. It is there in the NMAT by GMAT dashboard. You can preview the slots. It will show you all the slots that are there. But they keep adding slots. So it's not that it is showing you exhaustive slots that are available for NMAT. Whenever you see a date which is convenient to you, my suggestion is to book it, because a lot of times students wait for slots to open, but sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. So it may happen that you have to travel to some other city to take the test. To avoid that situation, the best thing that you can do is, whenever you see a slot that you think is convenient for you, you just book it, you don't wait for more time. Question from V7. Can we trust CAT percentile predictor if you perform similarly on actual CAT? Okay, so as I had covered in one of the videos, so there was a video uploaded yesterday on the channel regarding SimCAT to CAT performance analysis. We also have something called CAT percentile predictor, right? So, and I briefly mentioned about that. So when you look at the My IMS and you take SimCATs, you also see predicted CAT percentile, which is based on the past data of IMS students, how they performed on the SimCATs, and then how did they eventually perform on the CAT. So using the data, we have an algorithm that we use to predict the percentile. So it's just an indication. I wouldn't say that you have to consider that to be the final thing that will happen. You never know exactly how it is going to be. So it may happen that you end up getting, let's say, more than that or in that range or slightly less than that. It completely depends on how you perform on the D-Day. So it's just an indication. You should not worry too much about it. Okay. 8D tracks. I saw a video where we have to pay 7,500 rupees for NMAT. Is it worth it? Okay. So now let's understand this. NMAT is a test which is administered by NMAT by GMAT. The cost of taking the test is going to be 3,000 plus GST, so that is 3,540 rupees. After that, you have to apply to the individual colleges where you want to send your score. So that is going to be the preference part of the NMAT by GMAT form, which is covered again. So for all the forms, we have made detailed videos as to how do you fill the form. So you can watch these videos. Links you will find again on the B School Zone as well, or if you're there, if you're a subscriber of the channel, you know it's there on channel. Now, once you add those colleges in the preference form of the NMAT by GMAT, you also have to go individually to these college websites and apply. So now NMIMS is an institute which accepts the NMAT score. You have to go to NMIMS website and complete the application process. Now that application is also going to cost you. So NMIMS application is 2,900. Now, if let's say I've added more colleges, let's say I've added SDA Bocconi, I have added say some other institutes, right? I will also have to go to these respective institutes and apply, okay, if I want them to call me for the interview and I want to participate in the process. Now, somebody may think that this is expensive, somebody may think that this is way too much, but let me help you sort of take that decision. Firstly, in the long run, this is not a lot of money, right? Because see, you must be spending similar amount of money on a lot of other things. So for example, buying expensive phones that you don't need, buying a lot of, let's say, gadgets or let's say clothes or whatever it is, going for movies, going to Starbucks, for example. So there are a lot of things where you end up spending money which may not be worth it. And whenever the question of worth comes, right, worth is a very individual thing. I mean, for me, let's say my watch may be worth more compared to somebody else, right? So somebody else might think, oh, this watch is not worth so much. But because let's say I bought that watch from my first salary, that watch is worth a lot. So it depends, right? Worth is relative. So whether applying to a certain B school or certain test is worth it or not is something that you have to decide for yourself. So I would say it's not a lot of money in the long run. Of course, in the short run, some people might feel the pinch of it because I understand. And again, when I was a student, I had the same thing that when you're applying to so many tests and so many B schools, you're spending a lot of money as well. but sooner or later you will recover that money. So I'm not going to worry too much about it. But of course, that doesn't mean that you apply to every single institute that you see. So you have to decide, right? I mean, NMIMS is the number one institute that you can get through NMAT. So if you look at NMAT accepting institutes, which is the best institute, right? Which is the one that offers the highest placement. Everybody knows that is NMIMS. So obviously you would apply, right? I mean, if you're not applying to NMIMS, I don't see why you should be taking the NMAT, right? Because that's the best institute. So you have to take a call basis your other B schools that you're targeting, other tests that you're targeting, and decide for yourself. But don't pay attention to videos where people say that okay, it is this much and that is why it is not worth it. But worth is a very relative term. You can't really put a price on things just like that. Okay, so keep that in mind. Aryan Rajput, my college gives aggregate CGPA for all the semesters. Should I just put that in the form? Yes, you can do that, but again, you have to use the conversion, right? So ultimately, what CAT is interested in, what is it that they use to finally shortlist candidates is the percentage of the marks that you enter. So if you have the CGPA for the individual semesters, you can use that, you can use the cumulative GPA that you get and convert that to percentage and you can enter that value. If you have statement of marks or mark sheets, you can of course use that as well. So sometimes students have this question, right, that I have both statement of marks and I have GPA as well. So what do I enter? Right now, if you have the marks, you can enter it as it is because that is there on your mark sheet. So you, but then sometimes it happens that your marks, if you use that, then the percentage will be lower. But if you use GPA and then conversion, then that would be higher. In that case, you can always use the one which is higher, right? And because you have both of them, so you can always argue and say that there is a GPA to conversion, GPA to percentage conversion that is given to you, right? So it depends, right? So it depends on what exactly your mark sheet is carrying, and you can take a call basis that. So, for example, in some cases they have this thing that GPA is given, okay? There is no set conversion formula of GPA to percentage. Now the college says that if you want statement of marks, you have to make an application, and the college will give you statement of marks. Now, what would I do in such a case? I have my GPA, I can use there's no conversion formula. So I have, let's say, GPA 3.5 out of 4. Now, if I enter this in the CAT form, I will have certain percentage that is getting calculated. But I can also request my institute for statement of marks, and let's say basis that it is coming more than 3.5 out of 4 in terms of percentage, then I can use that. So that is why you look at what all things are available with you, and using the conversion formula which is provided by your university or board, whatever is the principle, you have to follow that. Okay, so that's it. Slayer, I am from SPPU, which is a state university, but I did it as other university because I could not find my university under state university. What can I do now? Okay, so the university name doesn't have a lot of implication on your shortlisting. So in shortlisting, see, understand what is it that the IMs are doing is they are looking at quantitative parameters. So all the numbers that you enter, you have to carefully enter these numbers. In terms of university drop down, if you are selected instead of state university, other university, it is not going to have any implication on your shortlisting. So you need not fill a new form in such a case. Don't worry about it. If you want, you can always write a mail to help desk and tell them that this is what has happened. But that's about it. There's nothing wrong with your submission. It's not going to impact your shortlisting in any way. Ravi, should caste certificate be self-attested? Okay, so you look at the format that is issued. You don't need to self-attest it. I think in the CAT form they have given that if you don't have a valid certificate, in that case there are 3 documents that you have to combine and make an upload, right? In that case, I think they have asked for attestation, but otherwise you don't have to upload caste certificate with attestation. Srijan, what is the best time to fill all forms of MBA exams? Okay, so with respect to test, you apply as soon as possible. And for example, now these 4 are open, right? So CAT, NMAT, SNAP, XAT, all of them are open for their application. You start the application, fill it as early as possible with the information that you have, and that's it, right? So test applications you should do as soon as possible without making any errors. Regarding B school applications, this section will get updated as we progress, right? So B school applications is also a section on this page on the B school zone where you will have deadlines of all the B schools, correct? So here you will have to track what all deadlines are there, what tests they are accepting, and depending on their application deadline, you make a decision. So there will be B schools, for example, that will be open even after the result has been announced. So let's say CAT result gets announced. After that also there are tons of B schools that will be available for application. You don't have to apply to them right now. So I will wait depending on what is the deadline. So even for SNAP, in the SNAP form filling video, I've explained that there are a lot of SNAP options that you see, SNAP accepting institutes that you see in the SNAP form. Do I have to select all of them or whatever applications that I want to make right now? No, it depends on what is the application deadline of those specific B schools. Okay, so make sure that you keep a track of that and then apply prior to that particular deadline, because in SNAP, for example, you have some B schools that close before SNAP is conducted, some after SNAP is conducted but before the result, and some that are after the result they are open. So it will depend on the application deadline. You still have some time before we get there. So right now there is nothing much that you need to worry about. Nirav, I have heard that XLR is also opening Mumbai campus through XAT. Is it true? Nothing that we have heard about it. So, they haven't even mentioned it anywhere on the application page this year. So I don't think anything is going to happen, at least for this intake. V7, are take-home SIM cards exactly same as last year's proctored test? No, they are not exactly the same. What we do is we use some of those questions. So from the past old proctored SIM cards, we use questions to create take-home SIM cards. We also have a lot of stats from the proctored window of that particular year, which we use to give you percentile. So it is dependent on that past data. But we don't use the same test exactly as it is. So we create combination depending on, again, there are a lot of changes that happen in CAT. So adhering to the format, the difficulty and so on, there is a shortlisting process of questions that happens. Post that we create take-home test. Himanshu, you can put your question here as well. So I can take it from here directly. Okay. Because the form I'm not able to access right now. So I'm just taking questions from the YouTube chat. Okay. 8D tracks, my caste certificate of NCOBC was made on 8 Feb 25. Will it be valid to submit in CAT form? Okay, so in the CAT form, they have of course specified a date. So if you see this, they have given that NCOBC certificate must be issued on or after 1st April 2025, right? So that is something that you will have to follow. If you don't have a certificate which is issued after this, you will have to check with CAT that whether you can use the old one or you will have to apply for the new one. I think in some cases, if you have an existing one which is valid, they don't give you issue a new certificate, but you can always request them that for CAT I need it and take it forward from there. Okay, so you can check with the local body wherever you go and get these documentations done. You can go and check with them whether they will be able to issue a new certificate. If not, you will have to write to CAT help desk and tell them that this is the case. They are not issuing a new certificate because I have a valid one which is issued just 2 months prior to this date, and request them that if you can upload this particular certificate. Okay. In IBSAT, is this WorkX students only eligible? No, there's nothing like that. SK2, I have 9.6 CGPA in my 10th board, but I have received a mark sheet from my school which has 89%, but officially from CBSE I have received only CGPA. How to fill the form? So your CBSE mark sheet, right? The final mark sheet that you get is the final thing. So you have to use whatever is given on your CBSE mark sheet. Tanvi, also we have to apply to all colleges. We are selecting an NMAT XAT CAT form. So all are before exams or after exams also we can apply. I just answered that question some time back. I hope you got the answer that there will be applications open even after the test is conducted. In some cases, depending on the application deadline, you may have to take a call whether you want to apply or not. For example, for NMIMS, right, the application deadline will be same as the NMAT registration deadline. So because of that, you will have to make a decision as soon as possible. Okay, we couldn't. What program should we select in SNAP form? So in SNAP, see the top 4 would be SIBM Pune, SCM HRD Pune, SIBM Bangalore, and SIIB Pune, right? So these 4 would be the top 4 colleges to aim for. Percentile typically 98 plus for SIBM Pune, SCM HRD Pune. For SIBM Bangalore and SIIB, generally 92 plus would be the cutoff. So these would be the top 4, but of course you can look at the other institutes. As I said, B School Zone is very useful there, because then you can actually filter from, you can look at, go to the list of programs, put SNAP, and you will see all SNAP accepting institutes and details about the placement figures and so on, and then you can decide. Okay, Abhijit, NMIMS step 2 is not logging through GMAC ID and forgot password is also not working. What should I do? Abhijit, I of course made the video about 2 days back, so it is working fine. The step 2 is working now. They had a glitch where it wasn't working because they had enter your NMAT by GMAC ID or email ID, and there was some problem there. So now they have even removed that enter your NMAT by GMAC ID. It's just email ID that you can enter. So click on forgot password and make sure that you have completed step 1, right? So a lot of students, that is where they are making a mistake, that in the NMIMS form, sorry, if you see this, let me take you to the NMIMS form. Yeah, so these are the steps that you have to complete, right? So the first step is going to the website, and if you follow the form filling guideline video, you will not make a mistake. You have to complete this step, which is entering your data here, then going to the NMAT by GMAC website, entering information, creating your account, making the payment, getting the NMAT by GMAC ID, coming here, and then completing the step 2, right? So these are all the things that you have to do, then only you will be able to access. So I would suggest that you have a look at the detailed videos. It will really help you. Okay. And Abhijit, if you still encounter any issues, you can just reach out to NMIMS help desk, right? So they will help you out. Ayush, NMAT is showing only 2-day slots for Mumbai. Will the slots be made available later? Mostly yes, that's what we are all hoping for, and they will open slots for sure. So they open slots, but they also look at how people are booking slots. So they wait for some time, then they open. There is no fixed frequency at which they open it. So this is from Jadav Ghansham. In 12th, we have option between 2 subjects to select one for exam. So we have to total both subject or only one which is selected. I didn't understand your question properly, so sorry for that. So we have to total both subject, only one which is selected. Okay, so basically whatever appears on your mark sheet, you have to enter all those subjects. That's the bottom line that you need to follow. Nirav, can you suggest B School application strategy for general non-engineer male to get score-based calls from top colleges? Okay, so Nirav, it's not going to be as simple as me giving you that recommendation right now, because there are too many things, right? So your CAT performance, how you will eventually get the percentile, etc. There are very few applications that close before CAT result, right? So those applications you basically make on your faith that, okay, I've been doing so and so in my SimCATs. I'm estimated to get, let's say, a 95 plus, a 98 plus in the actual CAT. Basis that you make those applications. For example, SPJMR. So SPJMR application will be before CAT result. So if you think that you will get a call basis your profile, basis your SimCAT performances and all of that, you have to apply beforehand, correct? So right now it's too early to talk about B School applications. Somewhere in the month of September, October, that would be more appropriate. In fact, October is the best time to talk about B School applications. Victory Gain, can final year student fill all the exam forms? Yes, you can do that. Tanvi, can you please elaborate on specific date on which slot should we select for NMAT SNAP if you are giving CAT on the 30th? Okay, so good question. NMAT you can take from 5th November till mid-December, whatever is the deadline. Now regarding NMAT, if you are very confident, you can take it prior to CAT, no harm in doing so, or you can take it post CAT. Then depending on whether you are taking MyCAT, you will have to decide which snaps also you want to take and when you want to schedule your NMAT. So MyCAT will typically be first Saturday of December, and snap dates are already out, so you know those 3 dates. Depending on how many snap attempts you are taking, you can either fit one NMAT attempt in December or you take an attempt in November. So I generally tell people that if you are decently confident and prepared, you take NMAT prior to CAT. There's absolutely no harm in doing it. But sometimes what happens is students think that it will disturb their CAT preparation a little bit, it will sort of divert their attention. In that case, you can always decide to take NMAT later, okay? All right. Okay. Let's go. Will the role of contractor as Python end developer Python front end or whatever backend developer. From August 1st to July 31st, 2026, has shown my experience to be considered valid for WorkX counting purposes. This is from Let's Go. Okay, so if it is full time, right? That's the first condition that has to be there. The designation can be different, right? So if you, let's say, go back to this particular company and ask them, hey, give me a certificate, what certificate will they give you, right? So what documentation will they give you? So if it is full time and paid work experience after graduation, you can always enter that. So no harm in entering it. Himanshu, I'm planning to attach my Uttarakhand state caste certificate. I'm also planning to add central caste certificate using the CAT format. It is signed by Tehsildar. Is it fine? Yes, that's fine. Shreyashi Shah, I want to give NMAT twice, but there's no option to add one more. So do I have to fill whole thing again and pay? So Shreyashi, what you're trying to do is something called NMAT retake. That option becomes available only after you've taken your first attempt of NMAT. So right now you'll not be able to indicate that I want to take NMAT twice. You can only register for the first attempt. Once you are done with your first attempt, you will see an option called book retake or pay for retake, where you have to pay for the retake fees, whatever is the fees, and then you appear for your second attempt. But right now there is no way to indicate it. Selection criterion of NMIMS Mumbai. Okay, so last year they of course had the NMAT score based shortlisting. So 209 was the NMAT cutoff. Above that, whoever had scored, these students were shortlisted and called for subsequent process, which was a combination of having one more round of test. So there was an competency assessment that happened. After that, there was an interview, and whatever, there was that AI interview that happened. So basically, they are largely looking at your NMAT score, which I think had 20% weight in the selection process. About 50% for the competency assessment, and I think the remaining were divided between, I guess VAT was there, and 10% for interview or something like that. So don't remember the exact data points, but of course we must have covered that in some or the other video. Of course, as we progress, we'll cover that as well. This is from somebody. If in a mark sheet in 12th only grade is mentioned for some subjects, for example physical education and not marks, can we exclude it for aggregate calculation? So whichever subjects that you have appeared for, you have to enter the marks of all those subjects. Now in some cases what may happen is, if you don't have the marks that are available, whatever is the policy of the board from where you have taken that particular exam, you need to use that. So if they have given that, okay, this particular grade stands for this particular score range, you can use that. Or what you can do is you can write to CAT help desk that this is the situation, tell me what should I do. There are some cases where students have an optional subject for which they have not appeared. Again, if let's say they include that in the base will become 600, but the top is going to be only out of 500. That will have a significant impact on your percentage. Don't do that. It's better that you reach to CAT help desk and tell them that this was an optional subject, I didn't appear for it, now you tell me what should I do, right? So there was a question on the YouTube video as well where I had the same response, that you reach out to CAT help desk, because it's a very different case, right? If you have 6 subjects where you have appeared and you see all those 6 marks, then you can use that for calculation. But if you appeared for only 5 subjects, whereas it shows 6 subjects, then what to do? It's better to get a clarification from CAT help desk. Nirav, should I appear for NMAT before CAT or after CAT? Okay, similar question. Please guide me on it, as last year after CAT I just scored 170 marks. So it has got nothing to do with just because you have taken post CAT, it will have, let's say, an impact which is positive or negative, right? So nothing like that. It's more about the test is fundamentally very, very different. NMAT as a test. So if you're very serious about NMIMS and NMAT, you would want to give yourself more time before you reach a situation where you feel confident. So if you think that is going to happen in December, you book a slot for December. If you think in November you will be confident, you book it in November. So you have to decide when you will be in a position to do well on the NMAT. If you think you need to give yourself more time, I would suggest take it in December. Okay. But if you think that no, I'm enough confident, I have done different mock test, I have taken NMAT earlier, so I know how it works, then even November is fine. But December, see what happens is there are too many other exams also. So you have MyCAT, you have SNAP. So it's for some students it may be difficult to get adjusted to the format. So there are different tests, different format. MyCAT is very different compared to SNAP. SNAP is very different compared to NMAT. So if you think that is going to be a bit of a challenge for you, then November NMAT makes sense. Otherwise, December is absolutely fine. What are the other B school forms other than basic forms? Okay, so pretty much all the other non-IM institutions you have to apply individually. There aren't going to be common forms for these exams, these colleges. So let's say if you want to apply to MDI, separate application, IFT is separate, FMS is separate application, SPJMR is a separate application. So all non-IMs you have to apply individually. Swati, when we have to fill the application form of individual colleges before CAT or after CAT? In very few cases before CAT, in 99% of the cases after CAT also you can make your application. Monish, the NMAT dashboard is not showing my recent payment even though amount was deducted. It still displays last year's payment details and application form. Okay, Monish, best case write to NMAT help desk. I of course don't have any information, but you can, if you are an IMS student, you can raise a ticket so that we can also cross check it. But you can write a communication to the NMAT help desk. Through your dashboard itself, you can raise a concern. Okay. Alright, Atul, I got 8 CGPA which converts to 76% from CBSE. Should I put 100 in max and 76 in obtained marks in CAT 10th result? Okay, if you don't have the individual subject marks, then this is the only thing that you can do. See, whatever you do, right, if for whatever reasons you do not have exact marks and you're doing something like this, that I have 8 CGPA which converts to 76% and there's nothing else which is available on the mark sheet, right? In that case, you can put 100 as maximum marks, 76 as obtained, and that will become 76, right? But then also note that right now the form allows you to put the percentage value manually. So when the CAT application form started on day 1, day 2, it allowed only maximum marks and obtained marks, and percentage was getting auto calculated. Now what you can do, however, is enter maximum marks, enter obtained marks, and also enter the percentage manually, which wasn't the case on the first 2 days of application. So it's completely bizarre why they decided to do it midway. I mean, of course, on day 1, day 2, a lot of students would have submitted the application. But anyway, the other option that you can do is put 10 as the maximum marks, 8 as the obtained marks, and enter 76 as percentage, because it will still accept. It is not checking whether it is 8 on 10 equal to 80% or not. I tried that, and if you want, you can do that also, which is 8 obtained, 10 maximum, 76 percentage. Basically, that percentage field is what they use. So that has to be accurate. That's the only thing you should take care of. And you just write to CAT help desk that this is what it is and this is what I am doing. If I want to give NMAT second attempt, should I book again? I booked once already for the first attempt. Yeah, but you can only book for the second attempt, as I mentioned, after you've taken the first attempt. Okay. My college, this is from Slayer, my college and university doesn't give any CGPA to percentage, so I use the formula which all use, which is into 10. Will I face any difficulty? Should I change my CGPA in correction window? Okay, so firstly, in the correction window, there are very limited things that you can change, and GPA is not one of them. If there is no formula, CAT itself is telling you that you can do obtained GPA by maximum GPA into 100. So if you have done it, that's okay. Into whatever it is, that into 10 calculation that is there. This is from, okay, can we upload soft copy of documents like photograph and any certificate instead of scanned copy? It had been mentioned we need to upload scanned copy of documents and passport photo. You can upload soft copy, that is completely fine. So let's say if you went to a place to get your photograph done, it was a digital copy and that digital copy was available with you, you can upload that as well, right? So you don't have to have the passport size photo, then you scan it and then you upload it. A digital version is fine, as long as it is clearly visible. A number of seats of NMIMS through CAT. Okay, Anuj, there are no seats at NMIMS through CAT, it's only through NMAT. Mr. White, I am from state board and the 10 score is in points. How to convert it? Again, use the conversion which is given by your university or board. You have to follow the same process. So if they say this is the formula to convert, you use that. Which programs to apply in SNAP right now, which after the test? Okay, so depends on the deadline, but right now you can of course choose SIBM Pune, that would be number 1, SCM HRD Pune, SIIB Pune, SIBM Bangalore. So these 4 would be the top colleges. Which CGPA can give final year student in CAT form? Whatever you obtained so far, so all the semesters for which you obtained your score, you can enter that. Is it okay if we get a sign of Tehsildar for NCOBC? Yeah, I think it should be fine. That should not be an issue. Anushka, I have work ex of 20 months and 4 weeks, which is just 2 days short of 21 months. I suppose I can't round it up 21 months. Will this affect the points awarded on my profile? Uh, so in the CAT form, at least it is auto calculating because you have to enter the start date and the end date, and then it calculates the total days of experience. But in other cases, if you just have to enter the value in some of the forms, for example, I think NMAT and SNAP, you have to enter months of experience. In that case, if you have 2 days short of 21 months, you can enter 21 months. It is not going to create any problem for you. Khushi, what should we prefer, giving NMAT before CAT or after CAT? I have already answered this, but depends on you. Likit, is it okay if we get us? Okay, this also we are done. I would request students not to put the same question again because I'm taking pretty much all the questions that I'm seeing. So don't worry, your question will be taken. My NCOBC, this is from Radha. My NCOBC form is valid and signed by competent authority. It is central and within time validity. It has a mention of my caste, but it does not have caste entry number. Am I okay to use it? The entry number will be on the NCBC link, so you can check it from there. And every certificate will have the individual certificate number, right? So that would obviously be there. The caste entry number you can find on the NCBC website. But yes, you can use this certificate. Please tell safe percentile of IIM Mumbai. Okay, very difficult for me to answer right now, but I would say at least aim for a 95 percentile, which would put you in a good position. When will step 2 of NMAT open? This is from Chai with Football. When will step 2 of NMAT open? It is already open. You can go to NMIMS website and complete step 2. Adarsh, I am a student of IMS offline. JBIMS takes CET, CMAT, MAT, ATMA. Is it recommended to appear for all these exams if I am only going to apply for JB and SIMSRI via these exams? Yes, it's recommended that you take multiple tests so that you have a better chance of getting in. Mr. White, I am from State Board and got 10 points in 10th. How to convert it into percentage? Whatever is your board's instruction, you have to follow that. CBSE, for example, says it's into 9.5. So you do that for CBSE, but then for other boards, you have to figure out what is the conversion formula and you use it. If you have individual marks, you can use that as well. I filled my XAT form discipline wrongly. I've raised query. Will it help me? Yes, they should help you out. So don't worry too much about it. But see, discipline, unless you have messed it up completely. I mean, you're from science and you've entered commerce, right? That is a massive error and you may have to fill a new form in that case because this will impact your chances. But if it is something like, okay, I have done engineering, but instead of that, I have done chemical engineering, but chemical engineering was not available. So I've chosen engineering. That is completely okay. Okay, so don't worry about that. Okay. Anuja, if you are helping our family to open a new business venture and continue helping and looking after the business, how do we write it in the work experience? You have to have the documentation in place. So you cannot enter anything without proper documentation. If let's say after graduation you started helping your family business, the business has to be registered so that you can enter it in the form as proper work experience. So there are documents that are required. For example, the you can talk you if you have on the IMK website you will find all these documents that are necessary. But generally what you need is, firstly, the business has to be registered, should have a GST certificate, for example. There are the ROC that is there, so that certificate is required. You also, if you have your individual income tax returns, then that can be shown as proof of income. So the documents will be required. If there's no documentation, then obviously you can't enter it. See, I mean, think about it this way. If you are the CAT authority and I tell you, hey, I helped my family business for 10 months, they're not going to believe you, right? They need proper documentation. So get that in place and then you can enter whatever it is that you have done. Okay, what are the 3 slot dates for NMAT? Because they will be able to see only 5 to 19 December, unlike SNAP, which has 3 confirmed dates. So there are no confirmed dates for NMAT, right? So it depends on which city they are getting more applications. So on individual centers, they will open more slots for the test. So there are no set dates that you will see for NMAT. I am guys at backlog in SEM 2. How will I calculate cumulative percentage? Whatever mark sheets are available, right? You use these mark sheets. It may happen that in some cases you will have to take that subject in the next semester, right? And then you clear that subject, so now you have got a new mark sheet. So you will use that new mark sheet, right? So if you have not cleared a few subjects, then whatever it is that you have attempted and cleared, you can use those subjects, okay? The ones that you're yet to clear, you remove it from both numerator and denominator. In NMAT form, should I put my CGPA or cumulative percentage? Yeah, cumulative is what you're supposed to enter everywhere. Rather safe percentile for Great Lakes, Gurgaon, etc. I would say 90 plus is generally safe, but on the cutoff page, you will be able to find more information. So on the B school zone, we have a cutoff page where you will find more information about the individual B schools, right? And what are their typical cutoffs across various tests. Okay, let's go back to deadlines. Can you talk about Club 100 is what Dhruv is asking. So Club 100 is basically for IMS students who are scoring 90 plus percentile in at least 3 SIMCATs during the proctored window. So 3 proctored SIMCATs, you have to score 90 plus percentile. These can be any 3 SIMCATs, not necessary in any particular order. Whenever you qualify, you get added to a Telegram group. On the Telegram group, you have senior mentors of IMS, so there are discussions that are happening. Plus you have total 16 sessions that happen on Sundays, which are advanced level question discussions. So you can benefit from that. But yeah, of course it is happening at a higher level. For that is why there is an entry, that there is a restriction. You have to have 3 plus 90 percentile attempts. Okay, I think I'll have to start now in the reverse order in terms of questions, because there are too many questions. So I will start from question from Abhinav. I am MBBS graduate, have mark sheet of different years. How to calculate aggregate marks, or I shall upload only final year? Abhinav, don't make the mistake of uploading only the final year. You have to include all the individual semesters. So all the mark sheets that you have, you will have maximum marks and obtained marks. You take a total of all of it. It will come to, let's say, whatever, out of 3000 you have so many marks, etc. So you calculate for all the semesters the mark sheets that are available and enter it in the CAT form. Abhiramya, I passed out in 22 but cleared a backlog in 23, so my certificate shows 23 as the passing year, though I started working full time in November 22. Should my work experience count only from Jan 23? Okay, so tricky question, but I think it's better that you reach out to CAT help desk. I don't want to give you an answer which may end up being wrong. You can just write to CAT help desk and tell them that this is the case, and I'm not very sure what you should do, because it's a considerable difference that is there, right? So November 22 and Jan 23, but see, 2 months of gap, I don't think it will have a lot of implication, but I would not want to risk it, right? So it's very easy for me to tell you that you put experience from Jan 23, but if that 2 months might create that marginal 0.0 something difference to your selection, I don't want to risk that. So please write to CAT help desk. You still have 1 month ahead of you. Seek a response from them and then only enter it. Anant, I have taken continuous leave of 30 days last year and 15 days this year. So this, should I place 45 days leave in the CAT form? Okay, so leaves is not an issue, right? So everybody is entitled for leaves. Let's say your company says that you can take 30 leaves in a year. You end up taking all those 30 leaves in, let's say, 1 month. That is not considered as a break, right? So don't worry about that. That need not be factored in your CAT application. Okay, Zeus, my CGPA is 8.38, converts to 70.498. Should I take it as 70.50 or 70.49? See, there are only 2 decimal. Form states round to next integer. Yeah, you can put 70.50. You can put that. See, 70.49 or 70.50 will not have implication on your shortlisting. So 70.50 is what you can enter. Rahul, in my 10 sheet there are 2 subjects which are school based and only grade is given, but on backside range of marks given for grades, so I have to include, cause in CAT guideline they have said include all. So yes, you will have to use all the things that appear. So all subjects for which you have appeared, you have to consider that. Okay, so follow it. Even if it is school based and grade is available, but that conversion is there, you have to use the conversion. Vijay, whether to take admission in IBS or not? Okay, so see, we still have some time before we decide on institutes. Right now, if you think that depending on the placement numbers, you see that that is the range that I'm looking at, you should definitely apply. Right. So see, every B school is not for everybody. So somebody might say that, okay, this B school I don't want to go to because the placement figure is low. I am already earning X right now. This B school is offering less than X, so I don't want to go there. So it's a very individual choice. It's very difficult to answer it in this particular format. I would say that you look at your SimCAT performances, what you are estimating to score on the final CAT, what your aspirations are in terms of B school ranking, as well as the placements that are offered, and then take a call. Raghav, I was working but I got diagnosed and had to take unpaid off for 4 months due to worsening of my condition, but not sure if this period will be counted in experience letter. Okay, so Raghav, I would suggest that if you just talk to your HR once, right, and ask them that if let's say something like this has happened, when they issue the work experience certificate, what do they do? So just get a clarification from them. Now, if they say that whatever it is, something has happened like this, which was there in the past, let's say last year it happened, your work experience certificate is not going to get affected because of that. It will show a start date, it will show the end date. That's about it, without worrying about that middle 4-month period. You can simply use that entire start date, end date thing. Right? So see, there are some things that you have to take a call as to how you want to handle them. Now, if you think, and in all honesty, if you want to put it, you should put that 4-month as a break, right? If it was unpaid thing, you should put it as a break in your entire work experience. But if you think that no, I want to put it, I want to include it, it's a kind of a moral question. You have to take a call on that. If you ask me, I'll say start date, end date. If you had 4 months of unpaid gap, you should be mentioning it in the CAT form. Manan, I am a BSc Data Science graduate. Am I considered as an engineer or a non-engineer? So when you look at the CAT form, right, or look at the IMA, for example, if you go through the IMA PGP selection criteria, you will see that people who have done BSc Data Science, right, will be clubbed with engineers in terms of shortlisting. So technically, you are considered equivalent to engineering as a domain. Okay. I have 85% in 10th and 64 in 12th. So are there any chances of getting call from IMA belong to SC category? Possible, but see, right now there is one thing that we don't know, which is the CAT percentile. The higher you score, obviously you will have higher chance. So focus on that rather than worrying about the probability of getting a shortlist from any of the IMs. I have done my undergraduation in London. I qualify for NRI quota in SNAP in some IMs with GMAT. I'm an Indian citizen. Should I go for CAT or GMAT, and am I eligible for the CAT route? So Survi, what happens is, if you look at the IM's documentation that is required for the NRI, right, to qualify as an NRI candidate, or people of Indian origin, right? So overseas Indian citizen is what they call it. So go through that documentation, because different IMs have a different requirement. So some of them say that you should be staying outside India for X number of months. In some cases it could be 12 months, in some cases it could be 24 months. And they say that you should not be in a position to take the CAT. So when the CAT is going to happen, because you are outside India, you will not be able to appear for the CAT. So go through that documentation first. And if you can apply as an NRI, it is definitely a better thing to do, because of course you don't have to then sort of have the entire hassle of taking the CAT, etc. Then you can always apply through the GMAT route. But have a look at that. So that the specifications are very, very important as to how many days you were outside the country for whatever that period that they have specified before the CAT date. So please go through it. ISB PGP while, yes, definitely, Soumya, we will be making a video on that as well. Rahul, there's a range given, like computer T, I got A1, range for A1 is 91 to 100. Which mark should I consider? Should I take average like 95.5? Honestly, that's what I would have done as well. But see, you have 1 month ahead of you. Write to CAT help desk, explain them that this is the case, and see what they say. If you still don't get an answer, I think you can simply do this average thing and go ahead. Because see, why I'm asking all of you who have doubts like these, especially with your academic scores, to write to CAT help desk is just so that you stay away from any issues later. See, if you do something and don't tell them that this is what I've done, and later they ask you, hey, why did you do this? You cannot say that just because I felt like doing it. So if you tell them that, okay, I had approached you, this was the mail that was sent by me, they will listen to you later as well, but they are not going to accept some random thing that you do. My profile is 10th 75, 12th 83, grad 79, NCBC, non-engineer male. What percentage should I target for blacking? Okay, so very again difficult question to answer, but at least I would say aim for 97. That would create some opportunities for you. Okay, we have another 10 minutes or so before we can wrap this up. So I'm going to take whatever questions I get till then. Others, which mainstream universities have their application deadline before appearing for CAT to look out for? So mostly it's going to be only SPJMR, possibly MDI, but let's wait for the applications to open. They anyway will announce it. So, but you don't have a lot of institutes closing before CAT is conducted. Slayer, it's a very minor thing, right? So just the name of the university or type of university especially is a very minor issue. You can mail them, but that's not going to make a lot of difference, to be honest. So it does not have any implication on your shortlisting, as I said, because shortlisting is largely dependent on the quantitative parameters and of course the category, because that will really decide what happens, plus your the education background, right? So when I look at education background, whether you are engineer, non-engineer, so whether you are commerce, because if you look at IMA, right, there are 6 ACs, so AC 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So MBBS will fall in a different category, CA will fall in different category, engineer is different, right, humanities, arts is different. So that will have, of course, an impact on shortlisting. So the type of university will not have an implication, but still you can just write to them just to be safe. How do I fill percentage of 12th and grad if I did diploma after 10th and then engineering? So diploma would be 3 years. So that would be entered in the diploma section. So it says HSC or diploma, right? So you select diploma, enter details of the first 3 years of diploma, and then you enter the engineering degree that you have done. So the remaining 3 years of engineering. Can I apply my NCOBC form in CAT application by undertaking receipt number, because just few days ago I had applied for NCOBC certificate and it didn't come yet. Okay, so Badsha, I would suggest that you wait for a few more days. Wherever you applied, you can just go and check with them as to how much time it will take. If it is possible, let's say that you're going to get it by August end, then you wait for the document to come and then you apply. Okay, so see, what the CAT form says is that if you're not going to get your certificate by the registration deadline of CAT, in that case you have to apply with the old certificate with the new application receipt, right? So that is, and then undertaking. So but that when, if you're not going to get your new certificate by the CAT registration deadline, but if let's say you get it by August end, why unnecessary apply with the undertaking, right? You might as well just apply with the document. Okay, I have completed mandatory MBBS internship. Will it, in December 24, will it be considered as a gap year? No, Abhinav, it's not considered as a gap year. I mean, if you completed in December 24, after that, whatever you have been doing, right? If it is full-time work experience, you can enter that. How do I fill dual degree option under education? So there is an option in the CAT form. You can click on that. So it says that, are you pursuing any dual degree program? You can select, you can check that and then enter relevant information. In SNAP, what was the cutoff for SIBM, SCMHRD, SCMHRD, BA last year for GEM? Generally, it is around 98 percentile, Sambit. So that's the aim that you should keep for yourself. On the B School zone, you will also find SNAP score versus percentile data for the last 4 years. So 98 percentile equivalent is what you should be aiming for. My UG university has mentioned CGPA into 10 for converting CGPA into percentage. Do I use the same while applying for CAT? Yes, absolutely. You can do that. If they say it is into 10, it is into 10. Okay. Currently in IMS online prep, 82, 82, 69, BSc Agri, aiming for IML, PGP, ABM. What CAT percentile will I get an interview call? Okay, so Nirmal, see, it depends a lot on aspirant pool of a particular year. So what happened in 1 year may not be exactly relevant next year. Having said that, 95 plus should be the best thing that you can target. At a lower percentile also you might get a call, but I would say to be safe, a 95 plus. Okay, I got back in one subject and exams are in Jan for that paper. What should I do? Prathamesh, so in this case, firstly, whatever subjects you have appeared for and marks, obtained the marks for, you can just enter them. If there's any subject for which you have not obtained marks at this point of time, ideally should be removed from numerator as well as denominator, because you haven't completed that subject technically. So it does not appear under the denominator. So you can exclude it from numerator and denominator. Whatever subjects you have completed, you can enter that. But as I said, if there are any issues like these, the best thing is to write to CAT help desk and inform them that this is what I am doing. I belong to OBC category, but my family income is 8 lakh plus, which falls under creamy layer. Which category should I choose during registration? Yeah, so you'll not be able to select NC OBC then in that particular case, right, as a category, because if you're saying NC OBC is my category, you will have to give the documentation that is required. So in that case, you'll have to select unreserved as the category. Please use scanners. So there's a question from Ice Burst regarding scanning documents. Please use a scanner to scan all your documents so that it is clearly visible rather than using a photo. And clearly they have mentioned also in the form that you should not be using a photo to scan your documents. Adarsh, I hope I have answered your question. There is an option to fill dual degree. If you go through the form filling video as well, you will see that there is a CAT FAQ section also. You can go through it to understand how to fill if you have an integrated program. Question from Anand. I get my salary from my firm in my bank account, but my firm does not provide salary slips. In this case, what to do? Hey, that's completely okay. If you're getting regular entries in your bank account, right, that can always be used as a proof, and you can request your HR to give you a letter. See, a lot of organizations have this thing that there are no salary slips that you can download. In that case, you can always request your HR at a later point of time, once it is required for document verification, to give you a document saying that this is the salary breakup that you were getting. What about SC category certificate? Okay, so you just have to follow the format that is given on the website. SC certificate will of course not have any particular validity period. It's only NCOBC and EW certificates that have a validity. SC/ST certificates, whether it is state issued or central issued, as long as it is in English or Hindi, you can use it as it is, provided it more or less adheres to the CAT format. Okay, please take care of that, and that should be fine. Okay, all right. I think more or less we have answered a lot of questions. I hope I have covered most of them. If at all there are more questions, you please let me know. There are 4 videos that I would like you to watch before you fill any of your applications, which are these 4 videos: CAT, NMAT, SNAP and XAT. All these 4 applications are open. Start filling your form. If you have any questions, you can comment. And if you actually watch these videos, you will see, and you check the comment section, you will see that I have been answering to a lot of these queries. So if you have any query, you can just write your query there and I'll be very happy to answer it. So thank you all for joining. I hope this session has helped you. Wish all of you all the best. Keep preparing, and if you have any questions, reach out to us. Thank you. Bye. I'll see you soon.